Hello everyone. Just wanted to start this video by just saying thank you. Thank you to all of you for being a micro church leader. There is a responsibility that comes with that and somewhat of a burden at times. You guys are investing in people, investing in relationships, pouring out your lives, opening your homes to the people in your micro church, and that's a lot. But we are just incredibly grateful that you have taken this challenge on head first. You guys are the front lines. You guys are the soldiers that are taking this charge, taking this action, taking this ministry to where God wants it to go. And we could not do this, would not do this without you guys. What you guys bring to the table, your ideas, your thoughts, your questions, are just a huge part of what we're doing as a church, as a ministry, as the kingdom of God here in Cicero, Indiana. You guys are great, and we appreciate you guys so much. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for continuing to do it better, continuing to learn, continuing to strive for just improved ministry, improved relationships, improved micro churches. Thank you for that. So as I was getting ready to do this video, one of the main things I wanted to focus on was how I was going to make fun of Adam. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it needed to be a major part of me doing this video. Unfortunately, I will be handing this video off to Adam, so my options as far as making fun of him were slightly limited by the fact that retribution could be quick and severe. And I just didn't want to leave myself too vulnerable here. So I went back and forth on how I was going to accomplish the task of making fun of him in a way that didn't leave me too open for whatever salvo he was going to send back my direction. So the thing I came up with, something that I thought would be just really funny, would be to shave my head. I know this is a weird idea, but one of the best things in my life is making fun of Adam's shiny top of his head. It's something I enjoy. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I just apologize, but I shouldn't, because it's funny. So I thought that me sitting here doing this video with my own shiny dome would be just a nice show of camaraderie with my compatriot. So as you guys could see by the hat, I'm not revealing whether or not I did that, just because. Just wanted to leave some mystery out there. One of the main reasons why I struggled with whether or not to go through with this idea is that I was a little concerned that what I shaved off would not grow back in its same state. I've reached that point where the stuff up top is a bit thinner than it used to be, so I was afraid that if I shaved it off that it may not come back in the same state. So you'll just have to wait and see. The next time you see me, you'll be able to tell. Let me just tell you that. So all of that just got me thinking about the different stages that we go through as human beings. How we transition from being a baby to learning to walk, learning to talk, learning what it means to interact with other people, the different transitions we go through in our relationships, in our life. I know there have been some big stages in my life, some big things that I've gone through personally that have kind of shaped who I am to this day. One of those things is my parents' divorce. That had a huge impact on me. I became a Christian in high school, and that had a huge impact as well. I got married shortly after my 20th birthday, and that relationship has continued to grow and change me, and has had a huge impact on who I am today. And then having children of my own, that still just blows my mind, the joy and responsibility that comes from that. So that, thinking about that and just trying to come up with what exactly the message was I had for you guys as micro church leaders, got me thinking about what stage of our life as a micro church ministry we're in. As I was thinking about this topic and reading about this topic, I came across the verses in the Bible. This probably isn't a new concept to anyone, but the differences between in the Bible where it talks about consuming milk versus solid food. The difference there biologically, obviously, is babies need that milk to survive, but eventually you have to transition from the milk to solid food to get the nutrients you need to be able to grow and thrive and develop the way that you're supposed to as a person. So just thinking about that in terms of your personal walk and the walk of the people in your microchurches, that concept when it's talked about in the New Testament is about going from the basics, going from just being fed to being able to kind of digest things yourself, to take in what you're being told, what Jesus has taught you, and kind of adjust things and deal with things and kind of chew it and move on and kind of develop in a healthier, stronger way, as opposed to just being spoon-fed, bottle-fed, the milk. So what is our solid food as a ministry? Where is our transition going? What does this have to do with being a microchurch leader? So I think one of the things that we've gone through over the course of this ministry is that we've been in kind of a more milk stage here for a little while, which is good. At the beginning, these things were very important, and lots of good things have come out of this life cycle of microchurch so far. There have been some really deep relationships formed. There have been communities developed. There have been people growing in these microchurches. Like I said, relationships being built, prayer partners, people learning more about who God is. All really great things. We've got really good things going on in our microchurches. We have healthy microchurches. We have these little communities that are being formed that people love. I experienced how much it meant to me when Hannah and I planted a microchurch, and we kind of lost what we had with our previous microchurch. That was kind of missing from our life, and we realized just how big of an impact being in a microchurch had on us as we were trying to create this thing that we already had been a part of. We kind of went through this stage of kind of this mourning of, man, we had these relationships, we had these people who are praying for us, who cared about us, who were there for us, who checked in on us at least once a week, and just that community of people surrounding us was so valuable that when we kind of jumped out of that to try to recreate it and kind of start it from scratch, it left this hole in us, and that's really what kind of opened my eyes to how impactful microchurch can be. I understood it, but that kind of added a more personal touch, that what we're doing really does have a deep impact on the people within our microchurches. So as I've been thinking about this, Adam and I have been talking about the idea of microchurch and what we're trying to accomplish through microchurch, one of the main things that we've talked about is the difference between microchurch and our Sunday morning gathering. Those are kind of the two entry points for people coming in contact with our church. And they're very different. Our Sunday morning service it's bigger, it's more formal, it can be intimidating to people who aren't familiar with our culture. The Christian culture has developed this kind of lingo and this set of, just understood things that go on. When I first came to church after my parents got divorced, I didn't understand any of that. I was totally new to the concept. I had never really heard of who Jesus was. I didn't understand anything about God. Had never been in church, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in this building with songs I don't understand, with rituals and things that just seem so different than the rest of my life, and it was really off-putting to me personally. So what got through to me was a Christian family, a family that was following Jesus. They invited me into their home. It wasn't through any kind of program or ministry. I just got to know the kids of the family, became friends with them, and just kind of got welcomed into their house to see all of it, to see the ups and downs, the highs and lows. And that's where I first came in contact with the fact that following Jesus kind of impacted everything, was being in this family's home. So that's a bit more what microchurch can be like. It literally is inviting someone into either your home or your host family's home. It's very personal. It can be very welcoming. It's a much smaller, obviously people-wise. There's a lot fewer people to kind of have to navigate. There's a lot less ritual, and it's very it can be very casual as well, which are all positive things when we're trying to reach new people. So that kind of gets me. I kind of put the cart before the horse here. I kind of explained why it is that we want to do this stuff before I talked about what it is we want to do. We really see microchurch as a great way to reach people who aren't going to come to our Sunday morning service as their entry point into Cicero Christian Church. Microchurch can serve as this bridge to get people who are interested in knowing about what it is Jesus is doing and what Jesus offers, but are kind of scared of walking into church on a Sunday morning. If we can use microchurch to be an entry point to people, to expose them to Jesus, to expose them to what it is we do as a church, what we believe, how we treat people, how we love people, it can have a huge impact and can be that doorway for people to come in contact with the kingdom of God. Our microchurches, one of the things that we talk about with that is care, connect, and challenge. So if we are doing those things, if we are caring about the people, if we're connecting with people and connecting people with Jesus, if we are challenging people to take their next step of faith, that is the perfect opportunity for people to see Jesus at work in us, Jesus at work in our community. And that is a great way for people who are far from Jesus, far from church, far from God, to be brought in. In a previous video, and Adam's talked about this before, he highlighted the need in our area. Within a 5-mile radius of Hamilton Heights High School, there are 11,500 people. And over half of those, we would kind of label them as non-Christians. So that's a lot of people within our sphere of influence. And those are the people that we are wanting to target for a microchurch. We want this to be a ministry, to be a place where we can welcome in people of all walks of life, welcome in people who are searching, who are looking for something, or are looking for the things that are present in our microchurches. The fact that there are tight bonds, that there's family, that there's love, that there's caring for one another, those things are very attractive to everyone. Everyone is looking for a place to belong, and microchurch can be that. So what we want to kind of transition from, that milk stage to our solid food stage is, instead of being internally focused, where it's about the members of the microchurch, it's about the building that bond, building that family, to kind of take that step towards how can we invite people into this? How can we reach those who are far from Jesus? How can we invite our neighbors that don't know Jesus? How can we invite our coworkers, even family members that don't know Jesus? How can we welcome them in to the good things that God is doing within our microchurches? This is highlighted in a lot of ways by another thing that we talk about a lot is our pray for one. It's something that we mention a lot on Sunday mornings. It's something that's very important to us as a church. If we take time every morning to pray that God would put someone in our path that we can care for, connect with, or challenge, then our eyes are going to be open to those opportunities to invite people, to love people, to share Jesus with the people around us. We all have people that we come in contact with every day that want, need, desire what it is comes with following Jesus. The hope and the peace and the community and the love that all stems out of this mutual bond, this mutual thing that draws us all together, the thing that can bridge the gap between a bald Atlanta Braves fan and a more follically blessed Chicago Cubs fan. The thing that has always brought Adam and I together has been our love of Jesus. That covers all kinds of differences. And that shared just following of Jesus is what it has an impact. People notice that we're different in a good way, hopefully. And our microchurches are places where if we are doing this well, if we are loving the people in our microchurches, if we are caring, connecting, and challenging, then those are going to be hubs, those are going to be bright spots, those are going to be lights in our community. And so the challenge that we have as leaders is, how do we make this so that our groups, our settings, our whole mindset is to be open for others to come in, to be open to outsiders, to be open to people outside of our group, to come in and be welcomed and be loved and be integrated into what we're doing as a microchurch. It's so important to have that mindset, because if we don't have that mindset, it's very easy to become internally focused and to love the people that are there, to grow deeper, to grow stronger, to do all of these positive things with the people who are already there, already in our midst. And it's hard to poke holes in that, because there's good things there. It's not anything that we're going to it's not anything that we're going to disagree with. It's all positive, but it limits our impact. It limits the ability for us to reach those who are far from Jesus. And that is really what microchurch is designed to be. It's designed to be an entry point for those people. So here is what I would like you guys to be thinking about, because it's very important that as a leader in everything, in any situation, the best leaders model a behavior that they want to see in the people under them. I've worked for a lot of different people, and the ones that were the easiest to follow, the easiest to listen to, were the ones that jumped in and did the things that they were talking about. They led by example. They led through what they did and not just what they said. So if you guys are agreeing that this is the direction that microchurch should be going, that this is the reason why we are doing this, then the question is, how are we going to model this to our group? How are we going to be that catalyst for inviting people in? So my homework for you guys is two things, two very specific things. One is kind of simple. The other one's a little more abstract. So the first one is, I would like you guys to come to our next meeting with a name. A name of someone that you feel would be a good addition to your group. The name of someone who doesn't know Jesus, but that would benefit from being in your microchurch and being a part of what God is doing in your microchurch. I know when I sit down and think about the people that I come in contact with, the people that kind of pop into my head whenever there's talk of this idea of who needs this, who would benefit most from being a part of what we're doing. I have a couple of names that pop into my head right away, and I'll be the first to admit I don't always think about it. I don't always. It's not my top priority. It can get lost in the shuffle. But if we're going to model this to our group, then we need to be intentional about coming up with a strategy, coming up with a way that how am I going to not argue, not like make this person come, but what can I do to encourage someone, to invite someone, to make it easy for someone to come in. So I would like you guys to come with a name of someone that you are going to focus on to invite and bring someone new into your microchurch. So then the second piece of homework I have for you guys is a little bit more difficult. So we want to make sure that our groups are welcoming to outsiders, to people outside the group, to people outside our faith. If we're really going to be an entry point for the community to connect with our church, then we need to be ready for that. So anytime we get together in a group setting, the natural tendency is to kind of become inclusive. You get to know the people, you know their names, and everything just kind of comes together, that cohesive unit. And sometimes adding something different into that cohesive unit can shake things up, can impact it in a way that you wouldn't imagine. And so it can be scary sometimes, both for you as a group, as an existing group, and also for the person coming in. So what I want you guys to be thinking of, what is one or two ways that we can make our micro churches more welcoming to new people? We've talked about some strategies for this in the past, that if someone comes into the group, if someone's going to be visiting, making it a little bit more of a social gathering instead of going through your lesson, going through your normal things, so that people can get to know each other. But what are one or two ways that we as a whole ministry, that you as an individual microchurch, what are one or two things that we can do to make it more welcoming for people to come and visit, to be welcomed in? How can we do that better? So those are the two things that I want you guys to come prepared to talk about. And just again, I just want to thank you guys. The ability to do this is so reliant on having leaders who are passionate about what we're doing, who have leaders that are all in, that are committed to the idea of microchurch, committed to doing it well, committing to loving the people in their group, and really to have a heart for the community itself. And you guys do. I see it when we talk about microchurch. I see it when you guys talk about your groups. The love that you guys have for the people in your group, for the community, is so evident. And I just thank you guys for what you are already doing. I thank you guys for what you've already done. The fact that you guys are in this, that you have committed to being a part of this ministry, being a part of what God is doing through Cicero Christian Church. You guys are amazing and are such a blessing to me, and are such a pleasure to work with and talk with. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and I look forward to getting together with you guys and talking about how we can improve and how we can go forward and continue to do this well. You guys are great. Bye.